Yes. Hey, everybody. Oh, yes. Welcome back to the Paid Search Podcast. My name is Jason Rothman. As always, I'm joined by Chris Schaefer, a.k.a. the great Chris Schaefer. Chris, end of the month, a lot of things happening. You're in a polo. Yep. What's going on? How are you doing? How are things going for Chris Schaefer?
I do look good today, Jason. You're right. Thank you. And welcome, everyone, to the show and audio listeners. I look amazing today. I have my hair fixed. I don't have a hat on. I have a collared shirt, and I am a professional. So thank you for joining us. And my esteemed co-host, I was just talking to someone on Twitter. No, it was YouTube, something. I don't know. They were talking about we were discussing how sometimes following Jason's irrational thought process is just so difficult sometimes. Just we think we know him. And then and then he just goes off and just says something nobody was expecting. It's part of the reason everyone listens, Jason, and I appreciate it. But I have to share.
Who are you talking about this with?
Talking about you.
No, with who? With who?
I don't know. Is it YouTube or a comment or a Twitter follower or something?
Okay.
I forget.
Okay.
Someone commented. So anyway, I just have to share behind the scenes before we started, just so you can get into the mind of Jason. He goes to get a drink of water, and he speaks to his little doggies just outside the door. He said, "I love you guys." he says, and I hear a whole conversation happening while he's walking and getting his water, just talking to his dogs. So, he's got that soft side. So don't let him fool you. He's a smart guy. He's sometimes irrational.
No. I've got a soft side I've got a soft spot in my heart for many people. It's pretty much like two qualifiers, like my dogs and people who give
that's
me
not
money.
a people. Okay, only one of those is a people. But,
and everybody else can it's not that I don't like people, Chris. It's that I'm a cynical person, and I've been made more cynical, and I cannot get into it on the show. I can't even get into it for Patreon. But speaking of Patreon, we had this guy this week that was like, "Hey, if you guys share this downloadable trade secret content that you run your businesses with, your checklist, then that'll convince me to do the $2 on Patreon." I was like, all right, that's all right, that's gonna get me over the edge.
Oh,
that's gonna make me give
you called him out. I saw the message too, but I wasn't gonna mention it. I know
nothing else we do is worth $2. But anyway, but no, Chris, I can't get into it on Patreon, but I don't care. Chris, I told you what happened to me this week, and I can't get into it at all when it had to do with theft and all that,
Mm-hmm.
Oh man, that'll make a guy angry, So unless you're giving me money or you're my dogs, I'm not going to say I love you.
You need to hug a dog after what happened to you this week for sure. You need some comfort. But anyway.
Never thought I'd say this in my life, Chris. But for the moment, enough about me. Let me tell you about Directive Consulting. We want to thank Directive Consulting for sponsoring today's episode, and you guys appreciate Directive Consulting. Shout them out on social media. Check out their website. Thank them for sponsoring the show, because as you'll see once we get into the content, it's important people sponsor the show because we get into some really good stuff sometimes, and today's one of those times, and it's just a great thing that this show exists. So I want to thank Directive Consulting for sponsoring today's episode. They are the go-to enterprise and B2B search engine marketing agency, pay-per-click, SEO, content, landing pages. They do it all. If you have an enterprise campaign, a B2B campaign, you need more leads, you need better leads, you need an all-encompassing program, get the most leads possible for your budget, the most qualified leads. You need Directive Consulting. We recommend you go to directiveconsulting.com, get a custom proposal for your situation, and you'll see that Directive Consulting is a go-to B2B search engine marketing agency. Get a custom proposal, directiveconsulting.com, and we thank them for sponsoring today's episode of the Paid Search Podcast. So, Chris, I teased it. We're going to get into it, but first, I'm going to read a review, Chris. And this one is from Tim, the great Tim Tompkins. He was on a few weeks ago talking about Google Grants, and he left us a review from the United States of America on iTunes. Gracious host, 5 stars. I was a featured guest on the program. Both Chris and Jason were very welcoming. I learned a lot and continue to learn a lot by listening to each episode. Love the intros the most. Keep up the great
the
work.
Intros.
5-star
the
review.
Intros. We put like 40 minutes into the content, and he loves the intros.
Chris, I love the intros because you go to like marketing podcasts and you go to all this. It's a lot of like smooth sounding sounds and music, and everyone's techie and smart, and like everything's planned out, and you feel like you're learning all this great stuff. And then you play ours, and it's like, oh yeah,
yeah, that's true.
And it kind of qualifies people, because if you're going to sit through that, we got some good stuff for you, but you got to sit through it.
That's true. Yeah. You're going to have to use the skip button a lot to get through all the moaning. But yeah. Well, Jason, do you have some news for us as I
I do. Chris, mobile ads on Google searches. It says Google Ads rolling out mobile search redesign. It's a Search Engine Land article. Here's what's going on, Chris. The yellow background is back. The green display URL is still green. The ad box is now filled in green. It's going back to fill. No, I'm just kidding.
I did not read the article because I'm like, no way.
I'm just kidding. That's just a joke. And then the reason I'm joking is because, Chris, we are going in the other direction.
Yeah, exactly.
The green display URL has become black. The ad little logo that says ad with the green box around it is now black. The box that is around the word ad has been executed. It is no longer there. The box outline is gone. The display URL has been moved above the headline. This is both for organic and ads. And then the one change on organic besides that is now next to the display URL on organic, there's a little favicon, and it's like the little logo of the website. And so on ads, they say ad, and there's a little thing there. And then on the logos or on organic results, there's a little favicon. So there's something there as well. And my point is, Chris, these ads are looking even more like organic results. And it caught my eye. I didn't think it was a big deal at all when I saw the article. I was like, okay, Google made an update. Google's always making an update. It's like moving on with my day. I'm going to go manage some ads. But then when I started using mobile searches for myself later that day, Chris, the black and the blue design, it caught my eye so hard, and it's slowing me down, and it's making me not want to keep scrolling. It's just really focusing me on the immediate result, those top couple ads. And I think it's going to be huge for advertisers. I think click-through rates are going up on mobile. I think click share is going up to the top of page and in the first position. That was my takeaway, Chris, that the ads look even more like organic, and there's something about them that catch your eye and slow you down and make you want to read them and possibly click them. What do you think?
Yeah. I mean, the thing, when I tell people what I do, the thing I usually hear is, oh, I hate those. I never click on those because I don't trust them. You know, there's some people that don't even know they exist, but the people that do, they often associate a lot of distrust because they say, oh, that's an advertisement. You know, I can't trust that. I want the organic results, as if somehow the organic is somehow, you know, less engineered than the paid. But this makes identifying paid and realizing what you're doing much harder. And to the casual user, they will not recognize it as quickly. It won't be so obvious. So yeah,
it's like not even important anymore. It's like, okay, we're going to, they're giving us results. They're so similar that ad organic, well, they're just going to click. Here's the thing, they're going to click as long as it's relevant to their search. So my whole thing, Chris, was this is even more opportunity for us advertisers. We're going to get more clicks on mobile because they look more similar. But with great opportunity comes great responsibility. So I think serving up relevant ads, quality businesses, quality options for search users, it's going to just be even more important because Google's like moving in the direction of like, hey, we want even more clicks on ads, which is fine. But if they do that, they're going to have to serve up advertisers that actually meet the search users' needs. So it's a big responsibility.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, let's move to our question of the week from Alex in Kentucky. Alex just sent his message in like just a couple days ago, and it's the reason we're reading it today is because it was the inspiration behind this episode. Jason's head exploded late in the night and came up with an amazing topic that I fully support, and it's going to basically provide us with content that you've never heard in this format before. Something we talk about a lot of the same kind of stuff, and we try to present it in unique ways. And what Alex has basically come up with is an idea that he didn't really mean to, but let's read the story about what happened from Alex in Kentucky. He said, I'm running a campaign that averages 50 a day in budget. This past weekend, the client, an AC company, wanted a spike in calls and wanted to dominate if anyone searched for AC repair. With their permission, I bumped the daily budget to $250 a day. That's $250 a day for Friday through today. So a few days. We're talking about a few days of daily budget shift. I checked it every day. We averaged about $200 a day in ad spend. Today, when I checked it, we had spent $470 by noon. When I looked at the keywords, it appears my keywords of modified broad air conditioning cost us $304 for 2 clicks.
And 71
How
impressions.
Is that even possible?
Racked up a lot of impressions quick. We'll talk about that.
How is that even possible? When I check the search terms for the day, I see that heating and air conditioning companies near me is the term, and the keyword was triggered. The keyword is triggered by, and that it had 2 clicks for 1 impression. WTF? That's 2 clicks for 1 impression. Okay, so he spent a lot of money on essentially a double click.
Person, yeah.
One person who possibly hit the back button and then clicked again. When I look at the ads that were clicked, both of my clicks were from a call-only extension. So he goes into some more stuff. I don't think it's necessarily relevant to talk, but the thing is, he ran a campaign that was automated and had a set budget, and then blew twice the budget in just a couple hours in one day. And he's obviously very upset. Who in the world pays $150 for a click? What do I do here?
But Chris, also, we're in a small market, blah, blah, blah. I had my bidding strategy set to manual. Oh, no, he didn't. He had his bidding strategy set to conversions. But who pays $150 a click other than me, I guess? What should I do here? So, Alex, we will – I don't know, Chris. I guess we're not going to answer it directly. But over the next 4 weeks, we're going to answer it more in-depthly than this guy could have ever imagined, because this spawned the next 4 episodes, or 4 out of the next 5 episodes. It spawned a whole series.
Yeah, so we're starting a topic here of what we're lovingly calling Google Ads trapdoors. And there's a nice piece of cheese right on top of this disguised trapdoor. And you, the user, will go for it, thinking that this is the magic that I need in my campaign. This is the answer to the problem. This will get me the conversions I want. This will get me the traffic I want. I'm going to go for it. And then the floor falls out from underneath you. And just to be clear, we're not saying that Google put a trapdoor in. Okay. I don't want to infer that Google's tricking people. What you need to know is that there's always a consequence to every action. If you set up something, or if you do something, there can be great results and there can be disasters. And we're going to go through 4 topics, one for each week, about how these trapdoors can work in your favor, and more importantly, how they can lead to disaster.
Yeah, Chris. So it's a Google Ads mistakes series. We're going to go through keyword mistakes one week, this week, bidding mistakes, kind of outsmarting yourself mistakes, and then mindset mistakes. And we're going to focus on mistakes, but the reason we're calling them trapdoors is because all of these things we're going to talk about are things Chris and I do sometimes. All of the things we're going to talk about are strategies that work sometimes, but we're calling them trapdoors because sometimes they won't work out well, and you have to know the downside or possible way these won't work out when they don't work out. And so when we talk about trapdoor, we're not saying you don't have to open the door, or that sometimes these strategies don't work, or that we don't use them ourselves. We do, but we're telling you, open the door, peek into it, but understand there could be a trap on the other side, and you need to be prepared for that possible situation. So sometimes this stuff works, sometimes it doesn't. When it doesn't, it sneaks up on you. That's the trapdoor aspect, and you need to be prepared for all situations. So Chris, today we're getting into keyword mistakes in Google Ads, and we have 4 topics. And the first possible mistake, the first trapdoor, are mistakes that can come from using 2-word broad match modified keywords like air conditioning, with air and conditioning with plus signs. But I'm going to open that up, Chris, and I'm going to edit these notes. I'm going to say broad match modified in general. So the more words you have in a broad match modified phrase, the more you're going to protect yourself, the less Google can get away from what your intent was. But it's especially evident with 2-word broad match modified, but just you need to be careful in broad match modified. These work sometimes. Sometimes they
I would say even.
Can't say what I wrote.
Sorry.
No, I can't say what I wrote. I wish. Wouldn't it be a better show if I said what I wrote?
Yeah, I love your note. I do, and I always love opening up when it's Jason's week and reading the notes and going, dang, obviously late at night because we can't say that on the air.
Tell everyone what broad match modified is. Like, what's the point of it? Why would you?
So broad, for those that are new, first of all, welcome. Thanks for subscribing, and please send your money to our Patreon. But broad match modified keywords are words like air conditioner that has a plus right in front of the word. So the way that it looks on screen is plus symbol, then the word air, no space, then a space, and plus symbol in the word conditioner. So it's written just like you would write in English, but a plus is attached to the front of every word. And when you have a plus, it tells Google, hey, when you show this, make sure it includes every term that has a plus in front of it. So it has to include the word air, and it has to include the word conditioner. Jason, that's right 100% of the time, right? It has to, it can't deviate from that, surely.
I'm reading the Google Ads help here. Use broad match modifier, which again is tying the plus sign to a word in the phrase, tying it to it. It's at the beginning of the word. For more control over broad match, adding modified broad match keywords can increase campaign clicks and conversions while providing more precise control than broad match. That's fair. Modified broad match lets you specify that certain broad match keyword terms or their close variants must appear to trigger your ad. Close variants include misspellings, singular plural forms, abbreviation and acronyms, and stemming, such as floor can trigger the word flooring. Variants don't include, I said stemmings. Okay, stemmings. Floor becomes flooring. But variants don't include synonyms or related searches.
Yeah, that's what I'm here to talk to you about. I'd like to present to you a case, which I have pulled up on my screen here, where let me briefly describe the client. The client is a B2B, of course, because I am the B2B king, chrisshaver.com. And he is trying to reach companies that have pipelines, and they're trying to transport oil or some type of liquid, liquid money, essentially, down here in Texas, as we refer to it, oil from one place to another. And this is a special pipeline. So I put in my keyword, modified broad, because I'm really trying to figure out how this terminology is going to work. And I'm trying out new words. And I put pipeline repair, 2 words, each of them modified broad. Each one has a plus in front of it. So pipeline repair. After a few days, I'm going through and I'm looking at what we're getting. Jason, what I get,
Uh,
I would say, does not sound like a synonym to me. It's definitely not a stemming.
well,
I
they said
get
there won't be synonyms. They said there won't be synonyms, just stemmings,
okay,
misspellings,
stemmings,
close variants.
close variant. So you tell me or not. What do you think this is close variant? Pipe, repair, clamp. So I understand clamp can be added. That's out of the question. That's part of the reason to use modified broad, because you can get those
Okay.
extra words in there.
Okay.
But pipe, repair. I put pipeline. It replaces it with pipe.
So their argument would be that the word pipe is a stem of pipeline.
Right. Which is a bit of a stretch, because pipeline is
Very specific.
is more of a tool. Yeah, I mean that's
Yeah.
a tool of a process used, whereas a pipe is just a part.
Yeah.
So it's very different. So this is my example of how two-word modified broad, or even let's just say
Modified broad. Modified broad.
two-word anything, two-word phrase match sometimes can be really bad. If I would have put pipeline repair, it could have also replaced pipeline.
I don't know.
With pipe.
My beef is more with broad match modified, to be honest.
Okay, that's probably true.
Counts
Yeah.
than count of words. Well, I have another example from a Chris Schaefer client. And this is, Chris actually had a moving company that does moves in Ireland and the UK. I gave him one of the moving companies. I let him have one. Yeah, this is from your client.
You just don't want to claim responsibility for this. That's what this is.
Is this a bit? Like, are you joking?
No, I don't know what you're bidding.
You sent me this report before the show, and we're like, I've got some good examples, and then we can read them off.
No. Go bring your dogs in, and they'll say, Jason, that's not true. I love you.
So you're going to say this is my client?
Yes, this is your client.
All right, then I'm going to say it's your client.
We do not send clients to each other. Let's be on the record here.
Yeah, I'm not saying that. I'm saying you said you had good examples of broad match modified going wrong before the show, and you said
to it. This is your mistake. Let's go.
But why should I if it's just my word against yours?
All right.
Why don't you just be the bigger man and claim this client? This is really bad, these results. All right. So we have a client that is doing moves in Ireland and to the UK and back and forth. And we just started. I want to put that caveat on there. And if anybody gives me grief about this, when I see you, I'll smack you, because we just started. And there's details you don't know. Like, it's not just like, oh, moving companies near me. No, they use the word removals over there. It's not just movers in my area. It's specific moves from one place to another, and it's not that simple. So like Chris, it's kind of a B2B situation where you have instructions, but you don't know how those keywords are searched for, basically, because it's so niche, so B2B. You want to loosen things up, see what the way people are searching for. So we have the word moving to Ireland, +, +, on all words in the phrase. And the search that came in is Aviva moved to Ireland. Mm-hmm. And apparently when you search that is the second largest insurance company in the UK that's moving to Ireland. It's got nothing to do with someone looking for a mover. So they would say the word move is a stem of the word moving, and then the word to is in there and the word Ireland's in there. So it's not that far from the broad match modified keyword, but it might as well be on another planet in terms of intent. Another example, we have the word removals Ireland, broad match modified. That's going to work great, exact match. It's going to work great, phrase match possibly, because again over there they search for movers. Like, they also use the word removals. Moving is removals. So the exact match one, Chris, removals Ireland, that brought in a search, Irish removals. That's pretty good. That's the exact match. They flip the order, but it's still someone looking for an Irish moving company. The broad match modified removals Ireland. Each word has a plus sign. Permanent facial hair removal in Ireland. So they took removals became removal, and then Ireland stayed Ireland. And Chris, just looking at my search term, seeing what these broad match modified are bringing in, we're not going to be able to stand for it. Like, we're going to have to lock things down pretty quickly. And so I guess getting back to the trapdoor, broad match modified is attractive. You and I use it very often. Sometimes it works great. It works great sometimes. Sometimes it doesn't. And the reason you and I will be tempted to use it is these examples when we're trying to figure out the way people are searching for things, when we're trying stuff out. Sometimes clients want more volume, and you got to open things up, broad match modified. But when you do it, there's a possible trapdoor that the searches are just going to be way off. And maybe half the searches that come in are perfect and great for you, and half the searches that come in are not good, and you can try to catch up with negatives. But you and I aren't in the business of providing half good search terms. We're in the business of providing 90% or better. So it's just a keyword trapdoor. You need to be careful when you're using broad match modified, and don't be surprised if it works great, but don't be surprised if it brings in a ton of bad stuff. And so it's just a potential trapdoor to be aware of.
Yeah. And the reason a lot of people are, using it is because it's essentially a shortcut to, adding a ton of phrase match. And we're not saying that the solution is to add hundreds and hundreds of longer tail phrase and longer tail exact. That's not necessarily the better solution, because that could be equally a disaster, which we'll get into stuff like that later in other episodes. But the idea is that when you use it, be aware that it is dangerous, because it can be very expensive and it can be very poorly targeted on some things due to what Google allows to match, which they're doing their part.
And we don't know how often that's changing behind the scenes.
Yes, good point.
So I've seen results change. And another thing, Chris, be prepared when you throw in one broad match modified keyword into a beautiful campaign of phrase and exact.
What happens?
Be prepared for 80% of your traffic to go to that one keyword.
Boom, immediately. It goes straight up to the top. Yeah.
You can show up on so many things compared to phrase and exact that sometimes it'll just eat up all your budget. Now, again, if you understand this wrong and I see you in an airport and you ask me and you say you never tried broad match modified, I'll assault you in the airport. I'll smack you on international waters, okay?
Yeah, because it's still it's worth the chance.
Sometimes it works awesome. Yeah, sometimes these work awesome. I'm running a ton of broad match modified keywords, Chris. I'm running a ton of broad match modified 2-word keywords, Chris. But sometimes they don't work for whatever reason, different industries, different locations, and this is a potential trapdoor. So don't get us wrong. If you get us wrong, I will assault you in public. You need to hear us clearly. We're not saying this never works. We're not saying don't try it. We're saying sometimes it doesn't go as planned, and be prepared that sometimes it's not going to work out.
Well, just like Alex's point, he had air conditioner on there, and it hit him in the butt because, he got something he didn't want from that.
Right.
So, all right. So let's talk about perfect search terms. Right. Okay. We've been talking about that. So, talk about the trapdoor and the issue of perfect search terms and the theory of getting perfect search terms.
Right, Chris. So this is a classic problem that great AdWords managers make, and I don't make this mistake. You do.
Oh,
no, I'm just kidding.
Oh, thank you.
I'm just kidding. Chris, you gotta. Man, you need to be in control of the mics today, because every chance I'm getting, I'm just taking qualified shots at you. These obviously I make this mistake too, but for some reason I just said you just personally make it.
All of these trap doors are things I've personally fallen into, not Jason. I'm sure that's okay.
Yeah, and I didn't even. That's how I came up with the list, not from my own experience, but just from thinking about what your experience would probably be. All right, so Chris, perfect search terms. The problem of perfect search terms. So again, we're not saying this never works. Sometimes and very often, perfect search terms works awesome. Sometimes, like almost every time, that's Chris and I's goal on a campaign. Get perfect search terms. When someone looks at the search terms report, 97, 99, 100% of the searches we're getting clicks from are perfect. People are searching for what the client offers, and they actually have a chance of becoming a paying customer. And there's no need to add a negative keyword from that list because they're perfect. That's what we go for almost every time. But the trap door you can fall into is that you can severely limit your client's opportunities. And the client, he or she might have a campaign where they could be spending $5,000 a month and making a ton of profit from that campaign. But because you did perfect search terms, you're only getting them $2,000 a month, and your search impression share says 100%. And they're going, hey, I'm making more money off of this advertising strategy than anything ever. I want to move money from, I don't know, direct mail, I don't know, radio ads, I don't know, TV ads. I want to move it back into Google Ads because this is working way better than that stuff. Can I do that? And you go, no, we're already at 100% search impression share. There's no way to get more. $2,000 a month is what you're limited with. And you're costing your client money, profit, because maybe they could be spending $5,000 a month if you tried out broad match modified, if you tried out competitor, which we'll talk about in a second. Yeah. Sometimes going wide, getting more volume, loosening up, 2-word broad match modified. Oh my gosh, someone stop me. Pure broad keywords. Sometimes it works awesome. And if you're hung up on perfect search terms, when Chris and I always are, you'll make a mistake and you limit yourself too much because you didn't try other stuff. And sometimes other stuff works awesome. Chris, speak to this.
So this is what it looks like. So you're thinking, well, okay, so don't get perfect search terms. You have to think beyond that. It's not that you just let some things slide. What it looks like is this. You have 400, 500, 700 negative keywords. And these are one-word negative keywords,
Great point.
Right?
Great point.
You've gone beyond normal standards and just layered your campaign negative keywords. You're looking at it and everything is the exact same. Like everything says the exact same. It's AC repair near me. And boy, you really have 100% search impression share on AC repair near me. But what if somebody says nearest AC repair guy, right? I mean, do you have that covered? You're missing out on that. You have 100% search impression share on everything else. Everything looks perfect, but you're missing out on an opportunity. So that's what a campaign looks like. And I'll tell you, I know you have accounts like this too, Jason. I can think of just a handful that I can go through the search terms and all of them are just pop right on the same kind of search. I'm thinking of one that's like a golf cart rental, and it's during the summer and the client is like, he always sells out and it's always the same kind of search. Golf cart rental near me, weekly golf cart rental, blah, blah, blah. It's like the same search every time. And I have that campaign full of exact match and long tail phrase because I don't need modified broad in that. Everybody searches the same way because they all want the same thing. And boom, it works great. But then to go back to the B2B client that I was talking about, you bet that is an ugly list of search terms because I don't know what people are looking for. I don't know how they're searching for a pipeline service, a pipeline product like this, because it's really almost undefinable. Everybody's going to search a different way. So it's ugly. So I have to have ugly negative or ugly search term results because I'm testing the market. I'm trying new things. I'm testing new keywords, wider reach keywords. That's what we want you to avoid is working yourself into a box.
Chris, I'm the king of movers and I'm the prince of injury lawyers.
Wow.
I'm the prince of personal injury. I'm not the king yet. I'm the prince
you
and
are
I got to kill the
own
king.
Daddy?
No.
Oh, wow.
There's a king in the moving world and that's me. There's a king of the personal injury world, and I'm the prince.
Oh.
And I got to kill the king to become the king, but I'm not there yet.
So you're playing Game of Thrones, and you have you're working your way up in multiple whatever kingdoms. Yeah. Wow.
That's right.
It's very visual.
So I'm branching out, and I'm a prince right now. Let me give you an example of how perfect search terms will screw you. Dog bite lawyers. Okay. What a business, People are calling you in because their neighbor's dog bit their kid and they want to sue the
I'm
hell
going to
out of
sue
them.
the pants off them. Oh my gosh.
That's not funny. Sometimes dogs cause serious injuries, and we are there for our plaintiffs. So you can have perfect search terms. Dog bite lawyer, Houston. Dog bite attorney, Houston. Dog bite lawyers near me. Dog bite lawyer. Dog bite law firm. Oh, these search terms are so beautiful. I show them to my little AdWords mastermind group of nerds every week, and we're like, wow, those are great search terms. You must be knocking it out of the park for the client. That's what the little peon of personal injury is doing. But you know what the prince is doing? You know what the prince is doing? They're trying out pure broad, right? And you know what?
No.
You know what search term they saw come in? Pit bull attack lawyer. You know what kind of dog bite cases have better, more money because they're more gruesome injuries? Pit bulls, right?
Bull.
So
let go.
when would pit bull lawyers near me, when would that search term ever show up on a keyword dog bite lawyers near me?
Nope.
Exact match.
Never.
It would never trigger it because pit bull is so different than dog.
Right.
It's similar because a pit bull is a dog, but the system isn't set up to swap in pit bull for a word dog.
Right.
So you can have perfect search terms, dog bite lawyer, and then be missing
never get it.
pit bull. And someone may say,
Excellent.
well, you should have known that pit bulls were those cases in a lot of cases anyway, and you should have had that keyword. Well, yeah, I should have made a lot of decisions in my life. Okay.
But that's the guy you're going to assault at the airport. Like you already punched him.
No, that's a guy that's not even worth my time. Like that's the kind of guy that if he brings that argument to that great information I just gave, they'll sue me as soon as I touch him. So I don't want to mess. Right. They won't fight back. They won't give me a good scrap in the airport. They'll just sue me. So I don't want.
They'll just lay down and take it and then sue you.
But Chris, yes, in a perfect world, I should know that I need to target pit bull for dog bite lawyers. But you know what? It's not a perfect world. We don't know everything. You can improve. It's okay to say you can improve sometimes. And so this is an example, and there's plenty of examples where the search is so different than the keyword. It's so niche. It's so not a way anyone would think of it that it's even more different than pit bull and dog. So opening yourself up, trying things, sometimes you'll find some gems. And you don't want to get locked in a mindset of only perfect search terms because it's good for business. Chris, you got to admit this. Let's get a little Patreon here. It's good for business, you and I, to just get perfect search terms. I mean, it keeps clients happy, but it's not doing the best possible job because we're not experimenting. We're not trying to find more perfect search terms.
Sure. Yep. All right.
So you really got Patreon with me there, Chris. I walked out on the plank. I thought we were going together, and then you just shoved me off into the ocean. Why don't you just say no comment so people can hear your voice? Why don't you just say no comment? You just move on Patreon. Like some smooth
$2. $2 paid. I feel like I don't even need to sell it. It's $2. You lost $2 worth
because
of change.
You got to offer more apparently than 5 or 4 shows a month of 20 to 30 minutes. That's not worth $2. You got to add on business trade secrets. All right. Go ahead, Chris.
Competitor keywords. All right. So this one hits close to home. Competitor keywords. This is the kind of thing I think every fourth client I get mention one out of 3, 1 out of 4 mentions this, and they're like, "What if you targeted my competitors?" Like, wait a second. I have an idea. What if you say my competitor's name is a keyword, and they're so excited. They're like, "Oh, what? This is an amazing source of leads. It's going to be great." Jason, I mean, what do you think? I mean, do you do it? Do you jump in on this? I'll tell you. Just my short answer is, I never do it. I always say no. I don't want to do it unless they just have a huge budget and they're willing to spend a whole lot of money and they have budget left on the table that I can't spend other places. Then I'll try it. That's my short answer.
My answer is I do it if the client wants it. I don't propose it.
There you go.
I don't, if they don't bring it up, I add competitors as negatives. Pro tip for people, you don't have to wait till the client spends money on them. You can Google the client's business. Like if they're, a divorce lawyer in Memphis, you can Google divorce lawyers in Memphis and then look who's on the first 10, 30 results in Google and add those other firm names as negatives. So you don't have to wait till they come in as search terms. But I don't do it unless they want it. If I see them coming in, I add them as negatives. I add them as negatives before we launch. Chris, sometimes it works. Like I've had movers who are like, no, I know what's going on. They're searching for someone else, and I'm going to tell them about my business, and they're able to make it work. The attractiveness for some people is that the cost per clicks can be lower than regular keywords, and also they can be high volume. However, if someone's searching for moving company A and I'm moving company B, there's a good chance they either want to hire moving company A, they've already hired moving company A, they're calling to pay moving company A, they have a question about their move with moving company A, and it's like, why deal with that when you can just show up on a new keyword? So the trap door is that people are attracted to it. Clients propose it all the time. Again, sometimes trapdoors work, but most of the time they don't. And by the way, Chris, you do a broad match modified moving companies or movers.
Oh goodness.
You'll start bringing in a ton of competitor names. So they can show up anytime, basically. You got to be careful.
Yeah, those service companies are really bad about that. Like, Alex's AC repair thing.
Exactly.
Like George's AC repair. Tim's AC repair. I mean, it's just going to be a bunch of persons' names. So that service company stuff is killer for that.
Pro tip, Chris, I'm just giving it all away today. Pro tip, you can add phrase match LLC as a negative keyword to your campaign, and that'll block all those LLC searches. Oh, you like that, Chris? That's a good tip, isn't it?
Good.
You like that?
Good. Yeah.
Isn't that a good tip?
That's good. That is a good tip. Why phrase match though? Why not just LLC?
I don't know, because when I was brought up by people that basically locked me in a dungeon and had me do great AdWords campaigns for them, and look, we both got something out of the deal. They got a slave labor, and I got the best AdWords skills in the history of human earth because it was just pounded into me. Now, it led to some problems. Like you saw, I was up at 3:45 in the morning last night doing these notes. I have problems, but it made me a hell of an AdWords manager. And I don't know, I was just brought up on phrase match negatives. That's what they liked, you know?
What an answer. I ask you why, and your answer is I was abused, and that's the way my masters told me to do it. Like that was
because I like that. That's the way they do it. But I liked it. I liked it. Okay, Chris, I liked it.
You liked
I like phrase match negatives because it's a sense of control in a world that's out of control. Let me control one thing. Let me control one thing today. Let me control that when I put in this negative keyword, it's going to be phrase match, and that's the keyword that I'm going to block. The part of the search I'm going to block, searches that include that. I don't have to sit there and wonder if it's going to pick up some weird thing. You know what I mean?
It won't.
I like that control.
It won't because put job as a negative broad match, and then watch jobs just pour down your list.
Right, I know, but what's I don't know, Chris. Maybe it's not rational. Maybe it's not rational, but hey, it's how I was raised. It's the word we used, phrase match, when I was raised. So
okay, that's fine. You do what you want to do. That's fine. All right.
I'll branch out a little, but I still like a phrase match negative keyword every now and then.
Okay, well, you have your thing. Last one I'm excited about because again, Jason he made some promises at the top of the show, and he said he was. He said he was going to quote this on the air, and so I'm waiting.
Chris, I don't know. I don't know if I want to be involved with this one. I got some second thoughts on this one.
You said you're going to do it, so we're going to talk about quality scores, and Jason has something to say about quality scores.
I'm not gonna. All right, so if you just, Chris, you and I just. All right, hold on. Getting hung up on quality scores. I'm going to go slow here. What I wrote at 3:45 in the morning. Getting hung. Okay. So this is trapdoors. These are Google Ads mistakes. These are potential trapdoors. Sometimes this stuff works. Sometimes it doesn't. Getting hung up. Chris, don't ever say what I wrote here because I'm really not comfortable saying some of these. I'm going to edit it.
You're going to say it on Patreon? You're going to say it on Patreon?
No, not even there. No. Getting hung up on quality scores. People love their quality scores. And then I said something. Okay. I'll take a 4 that brings a quality score 4, keyword with quality score 4, that brings in $100 CPA over a quality score 9 keyword that brings in $101 CPA all day long.
Boom.
Quote, get the most leads possible for the budget. Quote, that's what this AdWords Terminator was programmed to do when they sent me back in time to make the most money ever as an AdWords manager, and then use that money to save the world. And most leads possible for the budget is how I do that. Quality score, clean this up, doesn't play a role in that goal. So, Chris, I'm from the future. I landed in Los Angeles naked, butt naked, with all my muscles behind a dumpster. I am a Terminator. I do have a mission to save the world. And they program me to be the best AdWords manager and make the most money possible from Google Ads management in the history of the planet. And then I have to go into my save the world mode. But you know how you make the most money possible as a Google Ads manager? You get the most leads possible for the budget for your clients. And showing up on only quality scores of 8s, 9s, or 10s, that doesn't really have anything to do with getting the most leads possible. So I'm going to throw it to you, and let's talk about this, but let's be sensitive. Let's be respectful, because quality scores, relevancy, that's why the whole program works. That's why it works. That's why it works, Chris. That's why search ads work, because people are actually looking for If we were in the same room,
I would.
I'm getting very nervous right now.
Yeah, your tone has changed so much. It's so funny. When he came in, we get on, and he's like, wow, you see this? I wrote this at 3:30 in the morning. I'm pumped up. And we get here, it's like, let's be sensitive to the, okay.
Let's be respectful, because people love their quality scores, Chris.
Okay. Well, you know what? Okay. I'm going to do it. I'm not going to say what you wrote, but I'm going to say how I feel. Quality scores mean just as much to me as the toenail clippings that are left on the floor after I clip my toes. If I have a good campaign going and I have something that's just delivering solid search terms, the content. I'm going to take it a step at a time. Let's say I can't really prove that it's good, that it's leads, but number one, it's good traffic quality. The search terms are solid. The traffic quality good. The bounces are low. Time on site's good. I'll take it. A 1 out of 10, whatever. I'll take it. I've done it plenty of times. Then on the next level up, of course, if I'm willing to take good traffic quality with a 1 out of 10 quality score, I'm certainly going to be willing to take something that is 1 out of 10 and actually delivering leads. But here's where your enemies would try to bring you down.
They would say, yeah, you're getting leads with a 1 out of 10 quality score keyword, but you're not a good Google Ads manager, because a good Google Ads manager would try to take that 1 and turn it into a 2 or a 3 or a 9 or a 10 quality score, so you could get even more leads and a lower cost per lead.
Right. Yeah.
That's what they would say. What do you have to say to that?
I definitely have to say that sometimes I feel like sometimes that is absolutely impossible. I can build a separate landing page, a separate ad group, a separate set of ads that are optimized just for that one keyword, and Google still hates it. There are plenty of times, especially as the B2B king in my own kingdom, I can tell you that things like the client I described before, this pipeline client that's trying to sell a specific product in a niche within an industry, sometimes Google's like, what the F? Like, this is a weird keyword. What are you even talking about? Low quality score. They don't like it, and I can't bring it up. No matter how much I run to make sure that the time on site and the click-through rate's good and the ads are good, and it's all, Google just doesn't like it, and I understand that, because their algorithm does not understand the gray area between industries. Sometimes they just don't quite grasp it, and this keyword historically has not shown to be a good relevancy term for what I'm trying to bring in. And I
Chris,
get it. And
if you and I are great quarterbacks and we throw a great spiral and we manage an offense great, we're going to be great when the weather is 70 degrees outside and sunny and no wind. And we're still going to be pretty good if it's a little windy and a little rainy and real cold because we're a great quarterback. But we don't stop the game and go, hey, hang on, I'm going to try to control the weather right now and make it sunny and 70 degrees. How's that for a metaphor?
That's beautiful.
How's that for a metaphor?
Beautiful.
Chris,
that's beautiful.
I can't control quality score. Whoa. That's what a Google Ads manager does. He increases quality score. No,
you don't.
No. A great Google Ads manager is already by definition doing everything they can do to get great quality scores. They have relevant ads. They're trying to get good click-through rates. We'll talk about that in a second. And if they control the landing page or website, they have a nice landing page experience. So quality score is based on expected click-through rate, ad relevance, landing page experience. Ad relevance, all of our ads are relevant, Chris. You and I make relevant ads. Landing page experience, you and I run ads for reputable businesses. If someone's searching for a mover in Dallas, we're going to have a great website that's a moving company in Dallas. That's when people go to their website, they're going to go, yep, that's a moving company in Dallas. But expected click-through rate, a keyword status that measures how likely it is that your ads will get clicked when shown for that keyword, irrespective of your ads position, extensions, or other formats that may affect the prominence and visibility of your ads. This status predicts whether your keyword is likely to lead to a click on Google Ads. Google Ads takes into account how well your keyword has performed in the past based on your ad's position. And I'm trying to find something here, Chris, that basically says it's not tied to your account. It's tied to this keyword on Google in general. That's how I understand expected click-through rate. I mean, I'm going to try to find that definition now while you're talking, but I know that's what it is. It's not tied to your individual account.
Yeah, what you're looking for is the historical click-through rate. It's the historical CTR, and that is what often Chris. Completely destroy my quality score.
This is in Google Ads Help, Chris, and we'll link to this. I'm going to just copy it right now, put it on the sheet because I don't want to miss this. I don't want people to not believe me here. This is from Google Ads Help. It's a bullet point. This expected click-through rate is a prediction. So it's different from actual click-through rate shown in the CTR column of your account. Unlike the CTR column, this status considers how the keyword performs both within your account and across all other advertisers' accounts. This status has also been adjusted to eliminate the influence of ad position and other factors that affect prominence and visibility, such as extensions. Okay, unlike the CTR column, this status considers how the keyword performs both within your account and across all other advertisers' accounts. Chris, when I read that a few years ago for the first time, that's the last time I thought about quality score. When I learned that expected click-through rate, one of the factors of quality score, is not tied to your account, but it is. It says both within your account, but when I learned it was also and across all other advertisers' accounts, what do you want me to do, Chris? What can I do?
How much do you think?
What can I do?
How much do you think the historical quality score really matters for your account anyway? I mean, if historical quality score has to do with your account and everyone else's, how much does your one account weigh?
Hey, Chris, maybe that's the secret of an aged Google Ads account. We always talk about that mystery magic of like, hey, why does this account that's been in business for 5 years, why does it just do better than my other client who's been in business for 6 months? Maybe as time goes on, they give more weight to your account versus all other. Let me quote it: all other advertisers' accounts. But my point is that expected click-through rate, especially when you're starting, maybe the threshold is 5 years, maybe it's 6 months. We don't know when they start giving your account more weight, if they ever do, or what that weight percentage is. But if they don't like a keyword across all other advertisers' accounts, but that keyword is getting my client a great cost per lead and bringing in leads, I don't care what the quality score is, because number one, I can't control it. And number two, I'm focused on leads. So the trap door here, Chris, is getting hung up on quality score. the trapdoor is pausing keywords because they have a quality score of 3, of 4, of 5,
right,
of 2, and not thinking first, wait, is this keyword bringing me conversions, bringing me leads at a good cost per lead? That's the trapdoor. So yes, Chris and I want 9s and 10s. Yes, we don't like seeing 3s and 4s, but you know what? We're not even looking anymore because we're doing everything we can do to control it. And then we're laser focused on getting the most leads possible. So the trapdoor is turning off great keywords because they have bad quality scores when you can't control the quality score. To a very large extent, you can't control it. Let me be clear.
So I'm excited.
Chris, it fires me up because every time I talk to a new client, they're like, hey, I've been running Google Ads well, but how are you going to increase my quality scores? I'm not looking at your quality scores, Chris. Client, I'm trying to get you the most leads, and it's just not part of my process because I get good I do everything I can do by default, okay? And then there's this huge factor that's out of my control. So it's not part of my process anymore. Oh, you must not be good at your job because I'm talking about Google Ads quality score because, oh, have you heard of this company? You know what company I'm talking about, Chris? Every new client I get is using this company. Don't say it.
I'm going to be able to stop them. I don't know if I'm going to be able to stop him. Right. Okay, so I'm just going to talk quietly into the mic.
Let's get into trivia. Let's get into Patreon trivia.
He's not going to stop.
All right. Someone. Okay. I want to thank Directive Consulting for sponsoring today's episode. If you're a B2B and enterprise, they are the #1 B2B enterprise search engine marketing agency. Go to the capabilities page on their website, pay-per-click, SEO, conversion rate optimization, content marketing, paid social advertising. There's a lot of different channels when it comes to online, when it comes to search engine marketing, but you've got to figure out which ones are going to work best for your specific B2B and enterprise strategy, your goals. Directive does that. They look at all the channels, they get you the most qualified leads, and then they scale that. They've got great case studies on their website. They've got great clients. You can see the kind of companies they work for on their website. Look at their case studies. Go to their website, directiveconsulting.com, get a custom proposal, and we thank Directive Consulting for sponsoring today's episode.
Okay, time for the question of the week, as we call it, the paid search trivia. Jason has a question for me, and I am going to get it right, as I always do. And please, Jason, when you are ready. And then, just in case you guys haven't heard enough, and you want to hear after the show, join our Patreon for $2 a month, which is a tremendously low amount that we reduced, by 400% when we started. It was $10. Now it's $2. That's a heck of a deal. Jason, when you're ready.
All right. Chris, I want to thank you for joining today's paid search trivia.
Okay. Thank you. Mm-hmm.
I'm just thinking of how to word this. I'm stalling. I want to thank the staff. Can I just say our staff on the paid search trivia, our grips, our cameramen, our producers, they're excellent. And we wouldn't be here without them. So Chris, true or false? I'm going to try to make it easy on a player. True or false? Rachel, she's gonna edit that up just a little bit, clear this blank time. But on YouTube they can't, but they can just stare at Chris because he's beautiful.
It's just us.
All right,
this
Chris,
is
true
my
or false?
Finger. You see my finger? You want to guys stare at my hand?
All right.
I don't mean anything weird by it. Gosh, dang it!
True or false? True or false? No, we don't have to. True or false? You can do an automated strategy, an automated bidding strategy, based on your impression share goal. True or false? You can tell Google you want to
True.
Okay, you're right.
Absolutely
but you didn't respect the dignity of the game like I did last week. You didn't know that for a fact, did you?
Yes, I do. I absolutely know it's a fact.
You know that under bidding, and then you go to you go to bidding on a campaign.
Yes.
And then you go to other optimization options.
I'll even tell you.
Then there's an option to click focus on impression share, and then you say,
yes,
what % impression share to target for your campaign?
Yes.
Wow,
yes.
You knew that?
Yes, because you can come up with your own custom strategies, which you can build based on certain priorities. And impression share
at
is
the
one
beginning
of them.
when you make a campaign. Okay. I always click just like, leave me alone. Let me make my campaign.
Yeah, I know. I know. It's there. It doesn't mean I use it. I laugh at it and think, haha, some sucker went and did that.
So, Chris, it says, what do you want to focus on? And then you can hit, like, instead of conversions or max clicks, you hit impression share for your campaign level, impression share. And then it says, where do you want your ads to appear? Anywhere on the results page, top of results, or absolute top of results page. I'm going to click absolute top of results page. That's position 1. Percent impression share you want to target 101%. And they say, oh, no, it's got to be 100 or smaller. I'm just amped up. So I say 100%. And then they say, do you want to have a maximum cost per click bid limit tied in? I'm going to say, no, I'm going to leave that blank. And then I'm going to save it. Chris, how out of control could your campaign get if you're telling it you want absolute top of results page and 100% impression share? And no big
seems
cap.
Incredibly dangerous. Yeah, it sounds like Alex has another way to screw up here. It sounds like. Alex, are you listening?
Alex, dude, we owe you like lunch because you are spawning so many trapdoors that we're going to talk about.
We're smiling, but
Matt,
we're smiling because we don't have to come up with content.
Yeah.
Like we don't have to plan content for the next like 3-4 weeks. So we're like super happy. So
that is a crazy, but Chris, how many questions do we get from people like, hey, my boss wants 100% impression share. I'm stuck at 99.99% and he's about to fire me because I'm not at 100. What do I do? Yeah. And it's like, wow, here you go. Like if you really want to rip things up, absolute top of results, 100% impression share, no bid cap. I'm quitting. Good luck with your transition on your account.
Good luck. Watch that CPC. It's gonna be a tough one.
All right, guys. Thanks for listening. We're going into the Patreon world right now.